out there, fellow Hot Wheels collectors. Well, today it's how to package an RKO, a random act of kindness. Now, Ray Screws likes boxes, other people have carrier bags and simple padded envelopes, but how do you actually box one of these up? Because if you do want to send someone a gift, it must be a case of you just think, oh, just chuck the cards in a box and send it off by mail. Unless you want your cars to basically still be in good condition, don't ever just send them as they are. Wrap them up nice and neatly. Today I'm going to show you how to, because if you don't, whoever you send the package to might never ever talk to you again, or might never use you again, because their cars will either be battered, damaged, or even worse, broken. Goes the same with carded cards. Don't just chuck them in there, because again, all of these corners will get bent and damaged and dinked. So again, package them up nicely. Okay, now there's two ways to go. If you're just sending like maybe one car for a trade or exchange, you could probably use a padded envelope. Now these are fairly common to pick up in places. It's just literally a case of going round to your local supermarket or post office or however, buying one of these. Again, it's very simple, and again, if you're only sending one or two cards, you won't need a lot of packaging. Again, if you're sending carded cards, best to send it in a box, because again, these will get bent and sort of like crumpled and God knows what via the post office people. If you are going to send a box though, make sure you get the right size box. Now, this is the one from my Steve in 2007. I'll just show that side. Again, this is a fairly nice normal size box. So again, this sort of box would be perfect. You can get smaller boxes or you can get bigger boxes. It just depends entirely upon what sort of stuff you're sending. Now then, packaging wise. With my Steve in 2007, he did send a very good amount of packaging. As you can see in there is all the packaging that came with it, minus two carrier bags that I've since used. As you can see, it's all nicely padded in there. What's in here? Well, we've got packing peanuts, which are always good. We've got bubble wrap. We've got padded pads, which are always useful. Again, everything is always useful. Now then, you're probably saying, how do I package that all up though and make it nice and neat? Well, it's fairly simple. Okay, so you should have your box by now. So you need to first of all put bubble wrap in the bottom. Doesn't matter how big or how much you fill it, make sure you put bubble wrap in the bottom. The bottom of boxes is guaranteed to get broken or damaged. So if you want to have sort of like a nice crinkle in the side of your box, so if you want one side to be sort of like completely squashed up because where it's hit something hard, well, that's your own fault. That's why you put bubble wrap in there. Doesn't have to be too much, just has to be enough to sort of like make a nice padded top. Now, depending on what you're sending, are you sending loose cards or carded cards? If you're sending loose cards, what you then need to do is get some bubble wrap. Now what you then need to do is very carefully wrap the cards up in bubble wrap. Doesn't matter how or how much you do it, just as long as they are padded and they are protected. What you might have to do as well is just seal one end up like that, so that basically it doesn't move about or suddenly falls out of it. Okay, now depending entirely upon how many cards you're sending, so let's say you're sending 10 cards. Okay, so that's 10 unboxed cards or uncarded cards and probably 5 carded cards. Okay, so what you can do here is quite a neat trick. Because carded cards have a good amount of space on the top here, you can probably get away with a carded card on top of a unboxed card like that. Then wrap this round in bubble wrap. Never use sticky tape. Masking tape or decorator's tape is the best, because then it won't damage the back of the card, or some poor person, whoever you send it to, won't have to try and peel that off without damaging the card or ripping the card. Again, very simple and easy to do that. Okay, next is box layout. Don't just chuck everything in there and say, yep, that's all done. Now, I used to work for a charity company that's since long gone that did eBay stuff, and it was always a case of once we had almost sealed the package up, we did the shake test. If we could hear a rattling, we had to take it out and we had to make sure that the box was 100% sealed. Nothing was moving and nothing could get loose. So what you then need to do is just very carefully shake the box. If you hear a rattling, then that's not good. Unless, of course, it is sort of like one single car. Again, if it's just one car, it doesn't really matter as long as it's well padded. But you could just check. Now then, remember the packing peanuts? These things here. Dropping them all. There we go. Now these are very useful. You can pick these up in most sort of like stores or places. I don't know where you get these from. Again, they're fairly simple. If you do have a problem and you don't want to waste too much money, these weigh nothing. Again, probably if you grab a handful of these and just chuck it into a corner or just chuck it into sort of like an area where there's a bit of sort of like loose padding where you can't fit one car, then that's okay. Now then, as for wrapping up carded cards, if you're just sending carded cards, these are extremely hard to protect. However, carrier bags are extremely useful. So if you did get a small carrier bag from wherever you brought them from, do keep them and also grab a few others. And literally all you need to do is just literally put it in the carrier bag, fold it and fold it so it's all nicely wrapped up. Then place it in there. Again, remember of course you need to put it on top of some nice protective padding or bubble wrap. Or if you can't get hold of carrier bags, any type of bag really will do. Just something to protect the card from getting bent or damaged. Again, this one here is a little bit damaged, but I think that's probably from me. But again, it is literally a case of that is how simple it is to make an RKO. Now, price-wise, I'm not guaranteed on price. I don't know how much stuff sends. But again, once you do that, weigh, if you do have some scales or you have a local post office or somewhere, make sure you weigh your parcel. Don't just go down there expecting it to sort of like cost only a couple of quid, because it will cost you quite a fair amount, especially if you're sending overseas. Again, you never know the price of something. Unless you are a Royal Mail buff and you know how much that's going to cost, then okay, you can do that. But if you're a newbie or you don't know what some weights are, again, I know roughly how much stuff weighs, but that could have all changed. So what you need to do is take your package that's not wrapped up completely, because you don't know, you might be able to sort of like get a few more in there. It depends. You need to basically just quickly put it on the scales and write down how much it weighs. So if it weighs about 10 kilos, that's probably going to come to sort of like about 12 or 13 pounds. It depends. Shipping, however, might cost an extra 5 or 10 quid. So in total, you're going to be spending about maybe 23 pounds, something like that. But again, you always need to make sure that if you do that, then that is good. Again, always make sure you weigh your package before you sort of like take it down to the post office. Otherwise you might have to minus a few cards out. So once that's all done, it's now a case of sending it. How do you send it? Well, I'm no expert, but I don't think that's ever going to fit for a normal letterbox. If it does, your postman must really hate you, because if that goes through a letterbox, you can pretty much kiss goodbye to anything that's going to come through in that sort of condition. Again, what you need to do is take it down to your local post office. They will reweigh it again, and they will basically stick a few stamps on it. Of course, remembering that you have put the address on there, haven't you, of the person you're sending it to. And then it'll be a case, and then after that you'll pay for wherever it's being sent to. And then what you need to do is send the guy an email that you're sending it to, or person, and then say that you have sent their RKO, and hopefully they will get it within a certain amount of days. Again, mine came, I think, overnight. as it was here, I think, the next day. I was pretty surprised at that. I was expecting it to be sort of like a couple of days, weeks, months, but no, it came the next day. Again, that is pretty much the simple basics of RKOs. As for sort of like general car packaging, again, don't worry too much. So long as it is bubble wrapped, nicely sealed, you can't do much damage. Again, the other thing as well is photographing. Photographing is absolutely a necessity, because it might be a case of you or whoever you send it to isn't so happy with what they ordered. Now again, with this one here, this is one of my duplicates for trading. I've already got one. It's He-Man, Man at Arms. It's in mint condition, out of package I would say. There's a bit of general wear on the wheels there, but again, other than that, it's always good. Now on my camera, because it's a web camera, it doesn't show up very good. But again, if I hold it steady enough, that's good. If the photo's blurred like I'm doing now, so if it's like that and you can't see, then you don't know what condition it is, and that's not really good. So it might be a case of what are you hiding. Again, take your time with the photos, because if you are sending someone an RKO, you want to make sure the photos you send are good. So when they get them, they are happy with what they got, and they might send you something in return. Again, that is pretty much the basics of RKOs. There's not a lot to them, you just have to really make sure you package them up nicely and that they are all nice and secure. Money wise, again, I don't know how much it's going to cost. That was just a rough estimate to guess. But again, that is how you send an RKO. I hope this has helped. So it might be a case of now you know much more better on RKOs. So until next time, bye.